Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast, The Hidden Cost of Ignoring Compliance in IT Services. I'm Greg Rabine, and I help staffing and managed service providers scale using AI powered systems so they grow revenue predictably. Most IT service providers think of compliance as paperwork and red tape, but what they don't realize is that ignoring compliance doesn't just risk fines, it quietly eats away at profitability, client trust, and even future growth. Today, we are uncovering the hidden costs with Joshua Eidelman of NeoWork. So I'm pleased to introduce today's guest and discuss the compliance challenges. But let me just run through the flow. We'll start with having Joshua introduce himself and tell us about his background, experience, and journey. And then we'll explore trends Joshua is seeing in the industry, staffing, and then we'll talk about opportunities and challenges, such as how is AI and his customers' AI ambitions impacting how he goes about recruiting staff. And then we'll wrap it up with Joshua's thoughts on where things are headed. So, hey,
Greg,
Joshua,
yeah, thank you so much for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
you're welcome. Great to meet you, and curious where you're calling in from.
Yeah, I'm based in Medellin, Colombia. We've got teams out here and in the Philippines, so I'm all over the place between the two sites.
Wow, I've been to Colombia quite a few times, and really had a great experience. Really like it. What a wonderful country, wonderful culture, wonderful people. It's a great place.
Yep, I came for a 1 week trip 8 years ago. It's been here ever since, on and off.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, I'm calling in from New York City.
Amazing.
Yeah, how's the weather down there?
Yeah, so Medellin is called the city of eternal spring. It's 70 to 80 degrees all year round. We've just got one season, so I'm a little bit spoiled down here.
That's great. Yeah, I remember my I guess my most fond memory was going to the Bolero's museum. He I
Yeah.
thought it was amazing. I bought a book and everything and l- really liked it. So,
Yeah, it's a good mixture of kind of humor and with the obese sculptures and arts, and yeah, he's a good artist and very important figure for the city here.
yeah, yeah, big fan and a memorable time in my life going to his museum a few times. I've been there every time I go to Beijing. I go to the museum. So, it would be great if you can introduce, yourself, your background, experience, and your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So after college, did my last semester abroad in Ecuador, and again did that 1 week trip to Colombia, and realized I wasn't ready to go back to the U.S. yet, and I quickly found that there's amazing talent in Colombia and really impressive engineers, and decided to start my first business where we were building augmented reality courses to train trade skills, so plumbers and electricians through AR in a more engaging and hands-on way. And I never got product market fit with that first business, but it was a great just exposure to what it looks like to start a business in Colombia and how to recruit and retain talent out here. But yeah, the story of NeoWork is that on about 9 months into that augmented reality business, we were running out of runway, so I went to LA to pitch some VCs. And when I was hopping off of LAX, the airport, I saw all these scooters running around. I'm like, what the heck are these scooter things? I've never seen this before. And a month later, I decided to wrap up that business and apply to work at Bird, the first electric scooter business. And yeah, started with them in early 2018. This is when they were in their hyper growth phase, and We got to $1 billion valuation in the first 6 months, and then 2.2 billion 3 months later. So it was like riding a rocket ship, launching 3 cities every week. And one of my early roles with them was to go over to the Philippines to find a business process outsourcing company to work with. So I was sitting in the client's shoes as an employee at Bird, trying to find these outsourcing companies, and just ran into a couple pain points between the ways that the contracts were structured and, frankly, the ways that their employees were treated and the very high turnover rate that I saw. So started NeoWork to address those pain points I felt myself and really focus on retention, professional development of our teammates, and flexibility of being able to work with other startups and being adaptable and changing operational processes pretty dramatically week to week and being able to go with the flow and finding the right talent profiles that can handle that. So yeah, very grateful for that experience at Bird, and that's really the origin story of NeoWork.
Well, it's very impressive and really exciting how you, through your experience, developed your own business, and that's very impressive. So so today, and let me see if I understand this. Today, you are recruiting in the Philippines and Colombia for American companies.
That's correct. Yep. We handle all the recruitment, HR layer, and it's a fully managed service. So for our larger teams, we install trainers, quality assurance layer, managers to basically be an entire department and working in close partnership with our clients.
Okay. Now, are these employees remote in their country, the Philippines or Colombia? They don't come to America.
Correct. Yeah, we've got fully remote teams. They have access to backup sites in case of electricity or internet outages, but yeah, we're a fully remote team.
Okay, interesting. So, I guess around compliance, does an American you working with the Philippines or Colombia for American company and employment, are there any compliance mandates or paperwork or anything, or is it, I mean, I guess, is it because it's over the web, you can avoid that? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of health tech companies and tech marketplaces that require HIPAA and SOC 2 compliance requirements. We handle that just like any other US tech company with remote employees, where on their devices we encrypt hard drives and install password managers, auto updates, and we have whole security training that they go through. We like to follow the principle of least privilege. So essentially, for our roles, and most of the time we're handling back office workflows like credentialing or technical support. But for whatever the teammate's role is, we just give them access to the minimum requirements they would need within our client's internal tools and nothing more, nothing beyond that, right? Just like handling any US based entry level employee.
So, and who do you um, give this information to? So, in other words, you're onboarding, you're doing all these things. Some of them are compliance related. Now, do you have to generate a report on this activity for the company you're working for's IT compliance executives?
Yeah, good question. We operate within our clients' tools. So they have access to logs on all edits we make on internal tools and run reports there. Our typical setup that we prefer is that none of the customer data runs through servers that are owned or managed by NeoWork. It all runs through servers owned by our clients. And we essentially are just an extension of their internal team.
Okay. So do you have access to their systems? Okay, you're working in their environment. Okay. And is there compliance issues around that?
No, because we make sure that our teammates align with SOC 2 security requirements that our US tech partner clients that we work with have as well. And we have a security team as well. So if there's ever an incident report or an employee clicks on it, phishing email, we detect that, send the report to our clients. Just very similar to how they would handle it internally if one of their employees' devices was compromised.
Okay, understand. So, what are some of the challenges that you're faced with handling and working with an international, multi-international components to your projects? Maybe Philippines, Colombia, United States. So, what are some of the challenges associated?
Yeah, some of the challenges I would say are really aligning expectations, and that's why proper onboarding is so important with a new client of really letting them know what is expected from them for us to be successful. Our best clients have a dedicated vendor manager that's able to, navigate sometimes the politics of larger companies and escalate product requests that we have on our behalf. Because we, as a third party, aren't the best at being able to navigate within those, the internal departments of the companies we work at. So aligning with expectations on their end and also on our end of what you can expect from us, what are the SLAs that we want to hit, what success looks like for our roles, making sure our reporting is set up so that you've got visibility on all of our metrics and that we're delivering the value needed. Oh, and I realized we got the window cleaners here. A little extra guest came to the podcast.
That's great.
But but yeah, I would say that the biggest challenge is expectations, and another one would be cultural nuances. We have all of our new hires go through during their onboarding training around just communication best practices of dealing with direct New Yorkers that communicate in a very different style than a Colombian would, for example, and also for our clients, them better understanding our cultures and how for example, the Philippines is more of a hierarchical culture, and we want to, when we integrate them in new teams, we want to break that hierarchy, but just the trust that is needed for them to feel comfortable delivering bad news and not just saying yes all the time. So it really comes both ways, cultural training on both sides to meet in the middle.
Understand. So, on your website, you talk about selective hiring. Only 3.2% of candidates interviewed are hired. Wow.
That's correct. Yep. That's a For any outsourcing partner, I think that's the most important stat to look into is how selective they are because that was one of my pain points with these bigger BPOs. They would just do same day hiring and it wasn't the right skill fit, and we would end up wasting time with training for not the right profile. So, really making sure that the candidates can demonstrate that they can do the role and beyond that have a affinity for what the product is and are going to be a good long-term fit and really see this as a career that they can grow in instead of just like a short-term job.
Nice. So, also AI. So I saw on your website that you provide services around AI, maybe model training or um, supervised fine tuning. I'm not sure even what that is. But yeah, I would love to learn a little bit more about AI. Obviously, we all know the visibility and just how what's going on with AI. It's incredible, but it also brings up obviously serious security or risk or compliance issues. I mean, having some type of employee, any kind of employee, bringing in their own not only laptop but also logging into their own chat GBT, and then the risk around data is certainly pretty significant.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as far as services that we provide, they range from very basic tier one, image verification of, hey, is this we're trying to train a model to detect foods, is this a picture of a chicken enchilada or what is going on? That's actually a fun Slack channel we have for one of our clients that I like to pop in at times. Then to more mid-level, so actually being able to train models on taking actions within web applications. We're doing quite a bit of heavy investment there. For example, ChatGPT operator is today it's okay at being able to do a basic workflow like reserving making a reservation at a restaurant, but still struggles with a multi-step, multi-agentic workflow of kind of going within, software for accounting and making actions on invoices. So training models how to take actions in web apps, and then even highest level of prompt writing and getting very specialized talent, even PhD level talent in Philippines and Colombia, around being able to dive into nuances behind, if we want to train a model on physics, being able to actually have a subject matter expert in that area to run QA on responses. So pretty wide gambit in skill level and pricing rates for the requirements of the training we're working on. But yeah, to answer your question around security compliance, yeah, that comes up a lot, especially with our health tech companies where you're handling a lot of PHI, personal health information, and just the need to anonymize and mask that information before sharing it with any LLM is very critical. So yeah, that's something that's top of mind for me. And I think it's always funny, like when DeepSeek first came out and all the LinkedIn influencers were saying how this is gonna totally change the game. But also, look, like this is a LLM based in China, and that poses a security risk for U.S. based enterprises because who knows when like the Chinese government could hold a family hostage and like require access to that data or backdoor into that data. So just really being mindful of when working with the enterprise level and all of their the massive risk associated with working with LLMs, how to best balance risk with efficiencies that can be gained.
Wow, excellent. Wow, I'm sure that that service is really in demand. I mean, yeah, people need subject matter experts. They need to work with somebody they can trust, that can help them navigate to a solution. So, and that as we wrap up here, how do you find your customers?
Our current clients, a lot of it is referral based. Those are always the best clients. We do quite a bit of LinkedIn ads. I've got a podcast called Founders and Empanadas that I do where I eat some empanadas with companies that we'd like to work with. Conferences, so multiple avenues, but I've always found the most important and best way to attract clients is just doing a great job with current clients, which leads to referrals.
I agree. That's really great. Well, Joshua, thank you so much for spending time with me today on my podcast.
Of
Um,
course.
Truly an insightful conversation and discussion, and your expertise is invaluable. But
I'm glad we got the blooper in of the the window cleaner.
that was like something out of a movie. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in a James Bond movie or something.
Yep.
So Joshua, where can our listeners find you online?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn, Joshua Eidelman, and you can also always reach out to me at joshua@neowork.com. Shoot me an email there or visit our website. And yeah, would love to stay in touch.
Any resources or special offers you'd like to share?
Yeah, happy to do a free consultation just to review your operations and diagnose if there's any areas that could be a potential fit for outsourcing. A lot of companies think of going to the Philippines, for example, just for basic tier one customer support, but there's a lot of more advanced roles that really can and should be leveraging global talent. So happy to help diagnose in the areas of the business that could potentially be a good fit, working with NeoWork or any other outsourcing partner.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. So to our listeners, thank you for joining us. If you found this discussion valuable, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and share this episode with somebody who might benefit. You can also visit us on my website for more resources on scaling your IT services business. And we encourage you to connect with Joshua and NeoWork. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, stay cyber resilient and keep innovating.
Thank you so much, Greg. This is
Thank
great.
you, Joshua.